Because one
Right.
thing I want to get into is the fact that you are this very accomplished woman, married to this extremely confident man named Sean, who I had the pleasure of meeting. No disrespect to you, he's fine. He's fine.
I heard that. They've
You
said
know,
that.
he's tall and fine and you know,
He
muscular,
husky.
you know, all those things. And I recently was watching this interview Oprah was doing with, she had Stedman on the stage. And she had Susan Lucci's husband, but Susan Lucci and her husband. It was pretty much about men who are married or with women who are way more successful than them. Okay? You've been married for a very long time. And you guys gave birth to 2 beautiful children.
Thank you. But I have to stop you.
ahead.
And again, if we can have a transparent conversation, when you say way more successful,
ahead.
that for me was a trigger, right? Because what are we measuring that success?
Yes. So
Do you see what I'm saying?
I
what,
get it.
What are we measuring it on?
And that's the reason why I had to bring up the Oprah conversation, because it was a segment about that. And Stedman, for the first and only time, was actually on the main stage where Oprah was in the audience interviewing him.
Oh, wow. I've never seen that.
I'll show you the clip.
I'd love to take that.
It's fascinating because it is what you said. Success is measured by different ways, but it's also obvious that...
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. It's also obvious that when we're talking about Oprah, obviously famous, rich, talk show host, all these things, and he is obviously Stedman, a very successful businessman, right? One thing he said to her is, you are a star. And the Oprah Winfrey Show means a lot to you. And I know that. And that means, and that meaning a lot to you doesn't affect me or our relationship, if I'm paraphrasing. He said, because that's what makes you happy. And he also said, I know that you also are on this journey of knowing that there's more to life than the Oprah Winfrey Show. And that's what makes me very proud of you. So when it comes to you, obviously, you are a successful woman in every aspect of that word. Was it challenging for your husband to accept the fact that he is married to a woman that makes more than him, is in front of the camera, behind the camera? You are worldly known and successful.
Well, a couple of things, right? It's weird when you say makes more than him because we built the company together, right? Remember, when he and I met, I didn't have Monami. So we built the company together. So it's our finances, right? He's just as entitled because he's put in as much work, whether that work was, you know, holding down our family and making sure that all of the back end, we'll call it, was functional and working so that I could manage the front end of being out, you know, developing, pitching, selling, managing whatever it was we were doing, but it was always a 50-50 partnership. So, you know, in that sense, if we're measuring financial success, he is just as successful as I am. But when you talk about success in the terms that I measure it, the interesting thing is I'm envious of Sean, right? In certain aspects, because what Sean has managed to master that I still struggle with is finding the balance. Meaning like, Sean will go to the cigar shop and have his downtime. Sean will find time to go to the gym. And I'm like, how the hell did you get up early? You know, and because I get up, immediately my mind turns to work and I'm already in work mode, right? So again, if we took it all the way back to the beginning of our relationship, what I think he was great about Sean that allowed me to become who I was meant to be is that he was confident, right? Because I know that that's a big issue in, you know, relationships, especially when you're talking about Black couples, because all of the things we talked about earlier, I'm very assertive, very outspoken, that can be considered aggressive, and that has a tendency to intimidate not only, you know, people we meet in business, but certainly in the personal life, right? You meet a man and you've heard about, oh, she doing too much. She, you know, and Black men have a challenging time because of all the stereotypes, right, finding their footing in relationships with strong Black women, because they take it more as an emasculation versus we are, on equal footing, and the way I am is who I am, and it does not take anything away from the way you are and who you are. Mm-hmm. So that was something about Sean that was a blessing for me, because right from the start, right, like you said with Stedman's, you are a star. Sean understood, you've got a destiny. And my role here is to work alongside you to realize that destiny. You understand what I'm saying? So and he saw that as his success as well. Not like, we're putting you out there in the world, you're success, and I'm sitting at home, a scrub, and this was our entity that we were building. This was our mutual success. He was invested in helping me in a way that allowed me to tap my skills. And again, I say it every day, this 200 and something pound, dude from Brooklyn, when I got pregnant and it was like Buster was getting ready to go out on the road and Missy was, he was just like, we made a decision. We don't want strangers watching our kid. We don't want to put our kid in daycare, new parents. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I'm gonna stay home. I got this with the kids. You go out there and you do that. And it was never, like, I don't know, it never for a minute made me feel like he was any less of a man. For me, actually, knowing what I understood about the dynamic within Black households and the years and years of conditioning and emasculation that has happened within that relationship dynamic to erode it, right? Because I think that, unfortunately, there is a systemic, kind of attempt at breaking up the Black home. For me, that was like, wow, okay, great, let's do this. I never said, oh, he just trying to stay home. And because I say it all the time, those few times that it was like he wanted to go, he had something to do, and I'm like, I'm home with the kids. He wasn't sitting around scratching his balls all day. They were like, dance classes, this, that, my son, sports, blah, 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 Kumon, tutoring, right? There was an agenda, there was a schedule, there was, and then all of the things of taking care of our home and building our, investment portfolio, all of that stuff. That's a job, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So we never had that issue. We never had that dynamic. Right? Where it was just like, oh, I'm successful and this is it's always been we built it together.
And the fact that it was his decision to be a stay-at-home parent, to allow you, like you said, to manage and shine and interface with people behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. Because as you know, what's happening now is there's a lot of Black women who are the largest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the world.
Of course.
And what is occurring is, unfortunately, it's coming at the cost of their relationship. Right. And a lot of these women are going through divorce or they're divorced. Because the man was like, and I've spoken to a lot of men, Black men, I was going to be very transparent. And Black men have said to me, because I am such a proponent of women in general, but especially Black women living out their wildest dreams. I want them all to, because I shared that my mom was a housewife. And the moment she wanted to have a dream, because we were all grown up, my father said, that's not the role we decided to play. But she was growing into the woman she was at that time. I've spoken to men like, why is it an issue that your wife is excelling and she's making more money than you? I was told by all these men, I feel like she doesn't need me. I'm not needed.
Right.
If she can make her own money, if she could pump her own gas, if she can, do all those things, why am I here?
Why am I here? And that is twofold, right? Because one, it has to do with their own feelings of the lack of confidence that's happening within them.
But also what you said earlier in terms of like the Black family being conditioned.
Yeah, I was going to
too.
go to that. I was
Okay.
so the first thing is it's
Yeah.
the way they're feeling about themselves, right? Because sometimes, listen, it's not a perfect. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of conversation. There's work that goes into maintaining the balance of our relationship, of a healthy relationship, and so there are moments where, as a human being, right, men will feel like you said no longer needed, and the confidence isn't there, and it starts to fuck with their heads, and then gets transferred into the relationship where, it's like, okay, that's your issue, not mine. But it is your issue because part of your, responsibility in this relationship is to make sure also that he understands that that is not the case. Right? That he understands that he is a crucial part of what it has taken, which for me is in the form of, it's almost a joke now, right? I insist on people calling me Mona Scott Young, right? Because I am who I am today. I am where I am today. I'm able to do the things that, allow me to be all that I am because of this partnership. So that is my message to him every single day, that you are valued and that you are an integral part of who I am, which is why I insist on it, right? To the point where it's comical. People are like Mona Scott, and then the whole room will go, Young, right? Because they know what I'm going to say next. But that's in, out of respect for the role that he has played, right? So knowing that, I feel bolsters, whatever may be happening in his own head. Because imagine if I went around Mona Scott. Yeah, I'm Mona Scott. That negates, right, the role that he's played in where we are today. Yeah. Because Mona Scott Young is a brand. Yeah. Right? So what you're saying is you the Mona Scott brand. Young ain't had no part of this.
Ooh,
right?
Mona.
No, I'm just keeping
I never looked at it that way.
That's why I insist. Not because I'm being vain, not because I'm like, oh, get my name right. Right? No. It's because this is sending a message. Every time, you know what I'm saying? I insist that people say that. It's the acknowledgement of the presence, the contribution, and the partnership, right? And the other part is, that's why I still can't turn my TV on myself. I want him to know he is needed, because every time I need the remote control, it's like